Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back. It's time for my annual Christmas concert. I'm still a little bit under the weather, but I'm going to try and play for you because I just feel like I've got to do a Christmas concert. And we're going to start off with two songs that were written the same year, 1934. I think that these may have had something to do with starting the craze for Christmas songs in the Great American Songbook. You know, there were a few songs about Santa Claus and so forth during the Ragtime era, but it was later on in the 30s and 40s that most of the classic Christmas songs were written. And these two were both written in 1934. First, Winter Wonderland, and then the tune written by J. Fred Coots called Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Thank you very much. As you can tell, my parents are sitting here behind me tonight, and so you get to hear live applause. It's nice for me sometimes too. Well, it looks like everything's working. Evan Lewis says, what a wonderful way to start the stream. There we go. I can finally hear now. Oh, great. Well, Like I said, it looks like everything's working. I have had a couple of streaming issues the last few weeks, and the Wi-Fi seems to be working better than the Ethernet cable, which seems backwards. But you never know about the internet in my neighborhood. That seems to be a consistent problem. And I'm checking out Facebook here too. Harry Traxler says, hi, Scott and Roma. I think everything should be working, so let's continue with the music. And I'm going to play some early ragtime for you. Now, of course, that's where it all started, was with ragtime. And I think an appropriate tune for Christmas time is may well be my very favorite ragtime waltz ever written, from 1898 by Harry P. Guy. Here's Echoes from the Snowball Club. Thank you very much. Echoes from the Snowball Club. Let me double check Facebook and see if the sound has fixed itself. Good. Yep. It's better. Good deal. Well, let's keep going now. And, a lot of the songs I'll be playing tonight are not really ragtime per se. They're tunes of the Great American Songbook, which is also partly early jazz. But I'm going to play at least one true classic rag for you now by Joseph Lamb from 1915. I only play this about once a year, so I have to get the music out. Here's my original copy of it, which has one of the Ragtime Bob Darch stamps from Virginia City, Nevada, when he lived there in the 50s. It's called the Reindeer Rag, perfect for Christmas time. Reindeer Rag. Let me get the sheet music out. I'm going to play from this copy. Like I said, I only do it about once a year. Thank you very much. Reindeer Rag. Let me put that away real quick. Joseph Lamb. He could sure write beautiful melodies. Well, usually after the first couple of tunes, I mention that I do accept virtual tips for these concerts. All you have to do is send in a tip on PayPal or Venmo, and the information is in the chat and the postings on all three websites. If you enjoy the music, every little bit helps me with my career, especially in the wintertime when I don't have much else to do. My whole family's been pretty sickly the last 2 weeks. We got some sort of Parisian cold or flu. I don't know what it was. I don't really think it was the flu because I didn't have a temperature, but I'm doing much better. And you know what else? You can also tip in the chat on YouTube. I have seen people doing that. I see one here. Thank you very much for that. And love Mr. Lamb's rags. You executed it so beautifully. Oh, thank you very much, Evan. Now, let's see. If you have requests, don't forget, send in the requests. Happy to play them. Hopefully I can get to a lot of them this evening. I see 150 listeners on YouTube already. That's amazing. Oh, wow. Wow. Hey, Diana Rowell is listening tonight. Diana, type me a message here on Facebook, and I'm going to play one of your grandfather's songs for you. As long as you're listening here, I'll do it right this second. And hello to Abby as well. That's Bob Darch's daughter is listening tonight. Yep. I'm a big fan of your father's. Well, now we're going to play for Diana, my friend who's listening tonight. Her grandfather was Glenn Rowell, who was a huge radio star of the 1920s and 30s. In fact, if you can see, you can't really see on the camera, but back in that corner of my house, I have a lot of Glenn's personal collection that was given to me by Johnny Maddox. And Glenn wrote a wonderful Christmas song. It was in the days when he was performing with Gene Carroll. They were called Gene and Glenn, and they were such huge stars on the radio. They made $14,000 a week in the Great Depression. And this is the song, Bring Back That Old-Fashioned Christmas. So let me play it for you now. Yeah, here you go, Diana. This is from 1939. I'm going to read the words, too, because it's very pretty. This is a recitation for Bring Back That Old-Fashioned Christmas. Peace on earth, goodwill to men. How sweet that old command. 'Twas spoken on a Christmas when an infant ruled the land. No mighty man of war was he, armed with greed and hate, but just a babe who gently taught that love alone was great. As time rolled on, the world forgot, and tyrants rose to power, who would destroy man's peaceful lot and bring destruction's hour. But just as sure as heaven's sun can't be effaced by men, those words divine shall be the sign of peace on earth again. So let all freedom-loving hosts uphold the right and pray that all mankind will once more find what's meant by Christmas Day. Bring back that old-fashioned Christmas. Thank you very much, everybody. Bring Back That Old-Fashioned Christmas by Gene and Glenn. Started playing that a few years ago. I think it's very, very pretty. Well, I mentioned Johnny Maddox, and every year now, for a while, I've been playing a medley of two Christmas hits from the early 50s, because Johnny recorded these for Dot Records when the songs were practically new. I think in 1952 or 53, he made a Christmas record. It was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on one side, and I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus on the other. So I'm going to play those two together for you. And for those that don't know, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was Gene Autry's biggest hit that he ever had on record. And he sang a number of Christmas songs. I'll do at least one more for you. But for now, here's my little medley of two of Johnny's Dot recordings. Oh, Evan, yeah, I forgot Glenn Rowell spent a lot of time in Cleveland. He wasn't born there. He grew up in Chicago and St. Louis. But anyway, yes, he was a huge star on the radio in Cleveland, Ohio. We can talk about that later. Anyhow. Thank you very much, including the couch back here. Rudolph and I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. I see some discussion here on YouTube of Johnny Marks. He was one of the most prolific composers of Christmas songs. Of course, it was one of those Jewish songwriters from New York, ironically. And he wrote Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. He wrote Holly Jolly Christmas. He wrote Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. And you can see an interview with him on my YouTube channel, filmed by my late friend Ian Whitcomb, that is not available anywhere else. He knew Johnny Marks and many of the other Tin Pan Alley songwriters and asked me to post that on YouTube. So if you're interested in learning about him, look up Johnny Marks. I see a request here. This is my new friend Evan Lewis in Cleveland, Ohio. He wants to hear Silver Bells in 4/4, ragtime style, of course. Well, I've never tried it in ragtime, but I think I'll try it for you tonight. I was going to play it anyway. Most people don't realize that Silver Bells was written for a Paramount movie in 1950 called The Lemon Drop Kid with Bob Hope and Marilyn Maxwell. There's the original sheet music cover. I don't think most people think of Bob Hope when they think of Christmas songs, but he was instrumental in introducing at least this one. Words and music by Jay Livingston and Ray Evans, who worked for Paramount Pictures. I'll try and play it for you straight, and then, I don't know, I'll try and rag it up a little bit. We'll just see what happens. I've never played this before. Give it a shot. How was that? Thank you very much, folks. Silver Bells. That's what Johnny used to call playing by the seat of your pants. Sleigh Ride, you know, I get requests for that every year, but I have never learned it. I will do that next year, I promise. Didn't feel too good this week, didn't have time to learn many new songs. Baby It's Cold Outside, that's another one I should learn for next year. I see a request for Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. That will be towards the end of the program. I always do songs from Meet Me in St. Louis. Let me check Facebook. Oh, I'm so glad. Diana Rowell says, so sorry I have to go. You made my whole night. Thank you for the respect you show my grandpa. Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you. Johnny Marks used to say, watch your step, but don't step on your watch. I've never heard that saying before. Only have 2 listeners on Twitch. That's all right. Got 157 on YouTube. If you're enjoying the music, don't forget to hit the like button. And not only that, you know what you can do? You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow my Facebook page. I'm up to 8,500 subscribers on YouTube. I'd love to see that become 10,000. Maybe I'll do something special for the 10,000th subscriber. Well, let's do another real pretty song here. Of course, Bing Crosby is well known for Christmas music, and I love him in the first place. He's one of my very favorite vocalists. I like the style of his singing and that whole era. It's not brash and loud and like more contemporary singers from the second half of the 20th century. This song was written in 1940, 43? I'm reading Roman numerals here. Yeah, 43. By Kim Gannon, Walter Kent, and Buck Ram. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. And I've never played the verse to this song before. We're going to try the verse tonight. I'll be home for Christmas. I'll be home for Christmas. Thank you, folks. Let's see, got to put that back in there. Well, you know, along about this time of year, most of us, unless we're lucky enough to live in, say, South Florida or Texas, we're much too cold. And we like to go someplace warm. And so let's pretend we're in Hawaii and do Mele Kalikimaka. Here's the original sheet music cover. Took me a while to find this, with Bing Crosby and the Andrews sisters, of course, who recorded the song. And I'll play the original verse to this as well. There's not much to it. That's why people don't remember the verses to these old songs, I suppose. Hawaii's way of saying Merry Christmas. Mele Kalikimaka. Maka. That's right. Share the stream. If you're enjoying the music, please share it online. Let's see, how many listeners do we have? 162. We're getting better. All right. Much aloha to you, Adam. Yeah, I wish I was in Hawaii. Although it hasn't been very cold in Durango yet, I must admit. Let's see, what else do I have on my list? I promised you all another oh, well, let's wait. I'm going to wait for the Gene Autry tune. What time is it? Yeah, I'll go ahead and do it now. Let's do Here Comes Santa Claus. I don't think this was Johnny Marks. Somebody correct me if I was wrong. But this is another one of Gene Autry's Christmas records from the early 50s. Here Comes Santa Claus. And, you know, I had almost never learned any Christmas music until I started doing these virtual concerts. I don't ever seem to have many holiday gigs booked for some reason, but I couldn't figure out where to put Jingle Bells, so I put it with this song, and I'm going to play it that way for you now. Here comes Santa Claus, and then the original Jingle Bells, which goes way back to the 1800s, and I'll just rag it up a bit for you. Here we go. Thank you very much, folks. Little improvisation on Jingle Bells. And now I'm going to play for you a song which I think in my last Christmas concert, I played it at the beginning of the concert. So I thought, well, I'll put it in the middle this time. But the name of the tune is It's Beginning to Look Like Christmas. Here's the sheet music cover. You can tell by the 1950s, they really didn't put much on the sheet music covers except a photo of the recording artist. And here you see Perry Como, who I love almost as much as Bing Crosby. And the tune was written by Meredith Willson, the composer of The Music Man. 1951. It's beginning to look like Christmas. That's the title of it. Most people know it as It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas. It's beginning to look like Christmas. Thank you very much, everybody. Well, let me read some of the comments here. Hey, Adam, can you say hello to my dad, Nelson? Oh, of course. That's so sweet. Well, I wish you both the best. Already played Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Jingle Bells was written for U.S. Thanksgiving. You mean the American holiday? I certainly didn't know that. Let me check Facebook. Bob Milne says, excellent. Well, that means a lot coming from a fellow piano player. Thank you, Bob. No, I don't know the Nutcracker by heart. Oh, look at this. Bob Milne always writes the most interesting comments here on Facebook. My old college roommate, Jim Stewart, sang on Perry Como's show for years. Jim went on to start the Ohio Light Opera Company. How interesting. When you spend a lifetime as a professional musician, you meet a lot of special people. I'm going to play some piano rolls for you now. I usually get requests for the Christmas song, otherwise known as Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire, which was written by Mel Torme, believe it or not. But I really don't know the tune very well, so I'm just going to play the piano roll for you. I don't have a lot of Christmas rolls, but I'm going to play two for you tonight. And this is a QRS roll. Oh, it's probably from the 1940s or 50s maybe. The song is copyrighted in 46. It's the Christmas song, otherwise known as Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire, played by Dick Watson, I believe. Let me get this going. Uh-oh. I have to pump up the bellows a little bit, I guess. I haven't used the piano in a while. I hope the tempo's right. up for piano rolls, you know. Yay! Let me rewind that and we'll play the next one. Sounds like an 8-hand roll. Well, that's the thing about piano rolls. They can add notes wherever they want. This is another QRS piano roll. You know, QRS is still in business. I'm sure they've been in business well over 100 years, maybe getting close to 120. And this is a piano roll. Look at the paper. It's very cute, which I wouldn't be surprised if my parents bought this when I got my first player piano about 20 years ago. This piano roll was made in 2005. It is called the White Christmas Trilogy. I haven't played this for you on a virtual concert yet. I thought tonight was a good excuse. It's White Christmas played 3 times over in 3 different styles. First is in the style of Fats Waller, played by Michael T. Jones. Second, in the style of Frederick Chopin, and I'm not going to pronounce this correctly, played by Christopher T. Szula, something like that. And the third time is in the style of Errol Garner, played again by Michael T. Jones. It's quite good. I think it's very interesting. They nailed all 3 styles perfectly. So this year you get to hear White Christmas played a little differently. It's the White Christmas Trilogy. Well, you can hear the train. The Polar Express is coming back to town. And it's already 7 o'clock here in Durango, Colorado. If you're enjoying the music, I do accept virtual tips for these concerts. All you have to do is send in a tip on PayPal or Venmo. And even every little bit helps me make a career out of this 100-year-old music. If you don't trust PayPal, I have a P.O. box on my website for checks as well. And the other thing, which I will probably continue to mention in almost every virtual concert for the next few weeks, is that I am the director of the Durango Ragtime and Early Jazz Festival. And you can now buy the full festival passes on holdmyticket.com. The tickets are available. The festival this year is the third weekend in April, April 16th through the 19th, because we had to avoid both Easter Sunday and the Durango Bluegrass Meltdown, which is in the same local theater. And so we want to do it in the spring. We wound up with April 16th through the 19th. Including myself, there will be 8 musicians here in beautiful Durango, Colorado, from all over the country, the very best in ragtime and traditional jazz. The full festival pass does not include the train tickets. I had a lot of problems last year because even though I repeated it over and over, people didn't remember that food and drinks were not included with the full festival pass either. I'm just trying to make that more simple this year, doing the best I can. And I suppose I should mention, I am also going to be the MC of the Old Time Piano Championship in Oxford, Mississippi, Memorial Day weekend. This is the event that really gave me my start, the World Championship Old Time Piano Playing Contest and Festival. My parents put "and Festival" on the end of the name, and Ted Lehman has retired as MC, so I've invited Paul Orsi, the former Disneyland pianist, to do it with me. If you feel like taking a trip to the Deep South, it's really a beautiful town. Oxford has a lovely university campus, a lot of nice restaurants, and it's a beautiful area. So a lovely place for a piano contest. Come check that out. It's on my website, my whole schedule and everything. But in the meantime, send in some more requests for Christmas songs. This is my Ragtime Christmas program, playing a lot of American standards, but I sort of put a little extra ragtime in them sometimes. Just checking the stream here. Harry Traxler says, love to hear you and your mother do a duet sometime. She's shaking her head, no way. Let me check Twitch. Elise Natasha. Is that my friend from France? Already played Reindeer Rag. And to play Toyland, I'd have to get out the sheet music. Afraid I don't know that very well. Next on my list is a couple of ragtime tunes. We're going to go back to the authentic ragtime. I'm going to play for you a big hit written by Percy Winrick. It's called Snow Deer. I think that's great for wintertime, and I play Snow Deer as a medley with another piece by Percy Winrick called Rainbow. And Snow Deer was revived in the 50s. I learned it from Johnny. It was actually a big hit for Lou Bush, who was Joe Finger's car on Capitol Records, and he added rag onto the title. It originally was just Snow Deer, and he made it the Snow Deer Rag. So here we go. Mr. Rag. Thank you very much. I normally play those with my cowboy and Indian songs, but I'd like to throw that in for Christmas. Already played I Saw Mama Kissing Santa Claus. When I'm working in a place like the Diamond Bell, a bar or a restaurant, I don't mind repeating the songs, but I'm not going to do that on the virtual concerts. I see a request for Frosty the Snowman. I can play that one for you. This was written as kind of a follow-up to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer because that was such a big hit. And if you... My streaming went off. I think it was just my computer, not the cell phone itself. Just double checking. Hold on, folks. Okay. Back to Frosty the Snowman. Here's the original sheet music cover. And this was written as a follow-up to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. In fact, the bridge of the song is almost identical. Listen closely for that. And just for no reason at all, I decided I was going to play this with A Holly Jolly Christmas as well. That's one of the Johnny Marks tunes. So let me play them both for you now. Starting with Frosty the Snowman. Thank you very much. I didn't know there was a Toyland ragtime variation on that. Every song sounds good in ragtime. Charles, I'm glad you agree. The reason for that is probably because ragtime is the basis of everything else. I'm going to play for you now. Let's see. Let's do this one next. You know, I had the pleasure of befriending one of the old MGM musical stars named Carlton Carpenter. I just adored him, and I did get to play Abba Dabba Honeymoon for him. I did the concert a few weeks ago called Thanks for the Memory, where I talked about some of the old-time movie stars that I've met, and I played one of his songs. Well, I'm going to play another one for you now, which Carlton wrote in 1953, and it was kind of a mild hit. It took me a long time to find the sheet music, so I don't know that it was that successful, but it's a beautiful tune. Here's the original sheet music cover. It's called Christmas Eve, and it was recorded by Billy Eckstine, the great black jazz and pop singer of the 1950s, who recorded on MGM Records. Let me read the words for you. There's a candle in the window. There's a legend we believe. Santa hears our plea. You can bet that he wouldn't miss a Christmas Eve. There's a stocking on the fireplace. There are presents to receive. And there's a mistletoe where each Romeo steals a kiss on Christmas Eve. And the corner on the table, underneath a shining star, is the holy Christmas stable and 3 wise men from afar. All this holiday contentment, all this love should never leave. We'd be doing right if we made each night more like Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve. Thank you, folks. I'm going to actually play 2 songs for you tonight, written by songwriters that I had the pleasure of meeting. But I did not meet the next composer. His name was Julie Stein, and he was a popular songwriter for decades. Starting in the 1920s, he wrote Sunday, one of the great hits of the 20s. Lyrics by Sammy Cahn. This song is Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow. My copy has Woody Herman on the cover, as you can see. Julie Stein wrote Broadway musicals too. He wrote the musical Gypsy, about Gypsy Rose Lee. This song came out in 1945. Here is Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow. Thank you very much. Let me read some of the comments here. Well, maybe I'll play Black and White Rag for you next week. Of course, I will be back with a non-Christmas virtual concert next week. Please stay tuned for that, folks. Maybe it's time to play Santa Baby. And I know you've heard me talk about this before, but just a few months ago, I was in Southern California, and I had the thrill of meeting one of the last living 1950s songwriters who worked in the Brill Building in New York. His name is Philip Springer. And here's my copy of Santa Baby that he autographed for me, featuring the wonderful Eartha Kitt from 1953. And if you can't see it online, he's written to Adam Swanson, "Thanks for playing this every Christmas forever." And I have committed it to memory. I played this for Phil, and I did it in double time, and I asked him if he liked it. He liked it. So that's the way I'm going to play it for you now. Santa Baby. This is supposed to be the only sexy Christmas song ever written. Thank you very much. The one and only Santa Baby, written by my friend Phil Springer. Well, let me see. I'm reading the comments here. What was it like meeting Phil Springer? Well, he's almost 100 years old. He'll be 100 in a few months. But he's doing very well, and you can see a picture I posted with him. He's obviously a consummate musician, and told me a lot about the lyricists that he worked with in the 50s. Very famous people like Fred Ebb and Carolyn Lee and Norman Gimbel and people like that. And I played for him, and it was interesting. He's not from the ragtime era. He's from the 50s, and he developed a love for more like bebop jazz. He gave me suggestions. He said that I should take bebop improvisation lessons and that it would add a lot to my playing. Well, I don't know anything about that, but he's right. It would really change my abilities. But it's not really my field. I asked him, well, Phil, are you a pop songwriter or a jazz songwriter? And he said, I'm a pop songwriter who developed an appreciation, who became a jazz lover, essentially. And so that's who he is. And it's still quite a thrill to meet him, because he wrote songs for Bing Crosby. Sorry, not Bing Crosby. Man, my brain's fried tonight. It's Frank Sinatra, Judy Garland, and Liza Minnelli, and Eartha Kitt, of course. That was quite an honor. I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas. You guys are coming up with some good songs I'll have to learn for next year. In the meantime, let's go now to Meet Me in St. Louis. This is my favorite Christmas movie, one of my favorite classic movies ever made during the golden age of Hollywood, starring Judy Garland and Margaret O'Brien. I sort of got to meet her at the Cinecon Film Festival. I talked to her a little bit, asked her about a question or two. Really barely got to shake her hand, but it was a thrilling experience anyway. And the music in that movie is just wonderful. I'll start with Meet Me in St. Louis, then the old ragtime song Under the Bamboo Tree from 1902, followed by a couple of the songs that were written specifically for the movie in 1944 by Hugh Martin and Ralph Blaine. I'll do The Boy Next Door, of course, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. And here's the original copy of that with Judy Garland on the cover. I pulled this out so I can play the verse of the song for you. And then we'll end with the trolley song, of course. So a medley now of both ragtime songs and movie songs and Christmas songs, all from the movie Meet Me in St. Louis. I've done this every year for a while now because I love this music. And let's see, is there anything else I was going to say about that? I don't think so. Let me go ahead and play these tunes for you. This is my Meet Me in St. Louis medley. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I'm going to put in now the Eubie Blake version of Meet Me in St. Louis at the beginning of the medley. much, everybody, including the couch. There's Meet Me in St. Louis. I know I've played that for you before. Next year I'll learn some of these other Christmas songs to play for you. But, you know, my Christmas concert last year sort of went viral. I think it's the highest number of views on any of my virtual concerts. It's well over 60,000. And, but at the very end of it, I played Silent Night. And it got cut off because of the streaming issues. It was either last year or the year before that happened. And so let me close tonight's concert with Silent Night once again, a song that's over 200 years old. It was written in Austria, and I'll play it straight first and then try and rag it up a little bit for you. Here's Silent Night. Thank you very much, everybody. Well, that is it for tonight's Ragtime Christmas concert, and I'm running out of energy. So please join me next week again for another virtual concert. What is that? I think that's going to be about the 3rd of January. No, the 4th. Sunday, the 4th of January. Please join me again for another virtual concert called New Year, New Songs. This is a tradition I've been doing for a while, where the first virtual concert of the year, I play some new tunes for you that I have never performed before. I'm going to do a few of the pieces I got from the Dave Jason collection that I just learned, including Arthur Marshall's Lily Queen and Will Tyer's Panama. And the concert will close with Jelly Roll Morton's showpiece Finger Breaker. So join me then. Thank you as always for the virtual tips. Don't forget to get your tickets for the Durango Ragtime and Early Jazz Festival, and please support the World Championship Old Time Piano Playing Contest as well. Both of those organizations mean a lot to me. And we'll see you next week, folks. Thanks and good night for now.